Hey everyone, welcome back to the course. In this video, I just want to go over how to get started using Arduino. So when you download Arduino, this is what the desktop app looks like. And then you just click on it and it will open up. You can see these cute little components holding hands or wires, I guess. So this is the default Arduino sketch that opens up. I am going to delete it and talk about some things. So this is how you make a comment, the multi-line comment, and when you hit enter, you have another line. I like to start the file with the comment just like with the file name. So I'm gonna call this test.ino. So Arduino sketches have this .ino extension. And then the author, so whatever your name is, a revision date, and just a description of what this does. So this is a template Arduino sketch. All right, so all Arduino sketches must have this void set up. So this is a setup function. Before we define the name of the function, we need to have its return type. The setup function will be a void data type, which means that it does not return anything. And then this is the name of the function. And then this is where you would put any parameters that go into your function, if there are any. We'll talk about that soon. So we have a setup function, and we have, we will have a setup function and a loop function. All Arduino's sketches will have these two functions. So the setup function, this runs once when Arduino turns on. And that can be just when you plug it into power and upload your sketch using this button, or if you hit the reset button. So there's a reset button on your Arduino. And when you hit that, it'll run setup. And then loop runs after setup repeatedly. So this will run over and over again until the end of time or until the Arduino loses power. Okay. So Arduino, it's kind of like a language thing. It was built on top of C++. And in C++, we have this construct called a pound define. It's more or less a macro, right? So we can have this LED pin, and say we have a pin, or say we're using digital pin 13 to control an LED, right? So what comes after this pound define is a name of a variable, more or less, and this will be something that is constant. You use pound defines when you have a constant variable that you know will not change and can be used all throughout your code, right? So this pound define has something called file scope, and that means that you can use it anywhere in this file, right? And then what comes after the name of the variable is kind of like what you're assigning to that variable. So here I'm assigning 13 to the variable LED pin. So in setup, what you're going to want to do is we set the pin mode, or modes if you have multiple pins. And we do that with this function, pin mode. We can pull up the Arduino reference, right? Arduino reference. And this first result here, look at this pin mode function. So it takes the pin and the mode is the syntax for this pin mode function, right? So the parameters here, we're looking for the pin, this is a pin number, and for the mode we can specify as input, output, or input pull-up. We'll talk about input pull-up later. But going back to our sketch, right? So we do the pin number, we're using LED pin, since we already stored our pin number in that constant, this pound defined variable. And since we're controlling the LED, right, we're telling it to turn on or off, that's going to be an output, right? We're not reading it, we are controlling it. So we set the pin modes. We're also going to initialize the pin or pins, and we do that using this digital write function, since our LED pin is a digital pin. And we write to this LED pin, we're going to write low. And that means that this LED pin, the output is going to be tied to ground or low. It's going to be read as 0, effectively. And so that's what we want to do in setup. Here's the loop now. So in this loop, we just do whatever it is that you want to do. So suppose that we want to turn an LED on and off every second. So we start off by turn LED on. So we digital write LED pin I. So we turn it on, we set the output to high, wait 1 second, and to do so, we can use the built-in delay function. And this takes a number in milliseconds. So if we delay for 1,000, that's the same as waiting for 1 second. So it's 1,000 milliseconds. And then we turn LED off. Oops. So digital write LED and low. Turn the LED off, and then we have to wait another second, right? Because if we're looping over and over again, we hit here without waiting again, we're going to turn it off, and then instantly we're going to turn it on before we even realize that it turned off. So we just delay 1,000, and that is pretty much your first sketch. So we can just save this as your test dot. Well, on Mac, so it's going to already use this Arduino extension. You can choose a location of where to save it, to all that good stuff. And there you have your first sketch. So basically you can connect an LED, the anode of the LED, to digital pin 13 and the cathode to ground. And you can upload it, but in order to upload it, you need to go to Tools, and you need to determine what port. So your computer is going to have different ports, right? So you're going to have to choose which port. It'll usually say when you have an Arduino connected which port it is located on. And you also need to go to the board, and you need to choose which board you have. So I have an Arduino Mega 2560, so I'm going to choose this, but I don't have it on me right now. But once you get to that step of uploading, you just click here with the board chosen and the port chosen, and it'll upload the sketch that you have open to the board. So that concludes what I wanted to discuss for this first video. I guess another thing, if we go back to the Arduino reference page, click here. So these are a bunch of built-in functions that can be really helpful. In particular, for the first extra functionality, these bitwise operators can be helpful to read about. But yeah, with that, that's kind of all I wanted to share. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.